a quorum now, so I'll call our meeting to order. First on the agenda is Senate Bill 2362, which is Senator Branning's bill. She is in Judd A, so I've told her I'll move it to the heel of the agenda. And so we'll get that, we'll skip over that one. The next bill to call up is Senate Bill 2898 that requires certain municipalities to allow to establish overdue water, sewer payment programs and extend the repealer on the authority for that. Senator Blunt, it is his bill, and so I'll recognize Senator Blunt to explain it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for calling the bill up. Before I go on to explain the bill, I want to confirm with council the version that has come to us from municipalities and make sure that the bill that's before the committee has the proposed committee sub has a 1-year repealer, and that's as it was sent to us by municipalities. Is that correct?
Not 2023 is in there, that is correct. But what about the sanitation part?
That is not in the version that came to us from municipalities, and whatever. I'm happy to do whatever the chairman would like for me to do on that point. I think you understand the importance of that part of it, and we can do it here, or we can
do that part on the floor. I just wanted to make sure that the repealer was correct.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, with having clarified those 2 points, and I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, this is a 1-year, this is extending the repealer by 1 year for a bill that we passed last year that helps the city of Jackson deal with delinquent and disputed water bills, which have plagued our city for a long, long time due to the failure of the billing process. We set this process in place. We did a lot of work, and I will say really the key to this whole thing being successful to this point has been our former colleague, Senator Doty, who's now the director of the public utility staff. And she worked with the city to develop a plan which was in place by July 1st, but it has only been effective really for 6 months. It took effect 1st of July. They gave us a report, which I have here, that came in the first week of January to deal with getting people current on their water bills when sometimes the actual number of their water bills will never be known due to the breakdowns the city has experienced. So the bill that's before us extends the program for another year. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator Blunt. Questions from the committee? Do I have a motion?
Title sufficient to pass.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. Committee sub. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Next on the agenda is Senate Bill number 2793. This is a bill that was suggested by the peer committee, and I believe Mr. Booth is here to explain. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. As the chairman pointed out, 2793 grew out of a review that Peer did last year on child support collections. One of the issues we ran into was that a contractor which provided legal services had also contracted under that same legal services contract to provide call center services. Call center services are not the sorts of things that we generally associate with legal services. Had they not been under the legal services umbrella, they would have had to have been bid out through the Public Procurement Review Board. Legal services, as many of you know, I'm sure, are exempt from the bid requirements. So what this bill does is 2 things. One, in the exemption for legal services from bid requirements, it provides that legal services means services provided by attorneys or those people who directly work for them. So call centers generally aren't provided by attorneys and law firms. Second, in the provision of law that requires the Attorney General to review legal services contracts, it makes clear that the Attorney General's office should not approve any contracts or parts of contracts that include things that don't fall within the scope of that definition of legal services. That would correct the problem that we saw in the field in our report. That's the sum and substance of the bill, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Booth. Any questions from the committee? Motion is title sufficient to pass. Committee sub. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This is not a committee sub, so it'll be title sufficient to pass. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is Senate Bill 2806, the public purchase bidding prohibit reverse auctions for any design or construction labor or services. We passed a bill last year that allowed for construction services to be exempted from reverse auction. And y'all know I love reverse auction, but I agreed to that. Apparently, it was not clear enough, and it seems that some subcontractors are being required to bid the services in reverse auction in some instances. So this bill, if you'll look online, 96, changes that to where it's very clear that construction, improvement, repair, or remodeling of any public facilities, including the purchase of materials, supplies, equipment, or goods for the same and including buildings, are exempted from reverse auction. That's all the bill does. Do I have any questions? If not, do I have a question? I'm sorry, Senator.
I appreciate the cleaning up language that you're doing on that. I guess my question is in regards to reverse auction generally. How lucrative is the reverse auction companies that handle the software that these counties and school boards and what have you utilize? You know,
They usually get a percent of the bid, and I think it ranges anywhere from about 3 to 5%. I'd have to look at the law to be sure.
okay. Apparently they're making enough to hire lobbyists because I was stopped by their reverse auction lobbyists today.
I can assure you, and it's amazing how many state agencies are able to hire lobbyists also.
Yeah, we tried to fix that at one point, I think, but it never made it through the House.
All right, any other questions? If not, do I have a motion? Title sufficient to pass. Committee sub. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed. Motion carries. Next is Senate Bill 2806. I'm sorry. 2606, statewide election management system provide for the voters proof of citizenship. This, I believe, is Senator Tate's bill, and I've asked him to come and explain it to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what this bill does is going to help us get out of a lawsuit that we're currently in on how we treat the naturalized citizens when they register to vote. What we do in Mississippi currently, what we have on the books of 23-15-15 is that we required them to bring some type of proof of naturalized citizenship. And so what this would do is this would change that. And what it would allow for is when someone goes to register to vote, they would fill out the application and at their clerk's office. The clerk would later key that in to what's called the State Election Management System. That is SIMS. That's what all of our clerks use to keep up with the voter rolls. That is tied in with DPS. And if a potential, if someone who was potentially trying to register to vote was when they got their driver's license not a citizen, it would flag that voter. And the circuit clerk would then be able to cross-reference with a system called SAVE to make sure that that person is not a citizen. If that person is not a citizen, then the clerk will send a notice to that individual. They'll have 30 days to respond to prove that they are a citizen. If they don't do that, they will be in pending status in SIMS, and their names will not be on the poll book. But like anybody whose name's not on the poll book, if someone tries to go vote, they will be allowed to vote an affidavit ballot. And if within 2 general federal elections of them registering to vote, they vote affidavit ballot, and they would have 5 business days to return to the registrar's office, which is the same amount of time if you forgot your ID to be able to return to the registrar's office with your ID. They would have the same amount of time to return to the registrar's office with proof that they are a naturalized citizen. That's an explanation of the bill, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Questions from the committee? If not, do I have a motion? Motion is title sufficient to pass. Committee sub. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no.
No.
I'll call for division. Those who are for the bill, please raise your hand. Those who are not for the bill, raise your hand. The bill passes. Next is Senate Bill 2649, the Mississippi National Guard retired list, clarify the placement of federally recognized officers or men on it. General McDaniel, oh, you're going, okay, I'm sorry, Senator Delano. I was going to ask the general, oh, wait, he's not a general yet, I don't think. All right, go ahead, Senator.
Are you wanting to make an amendment there, Mr. Chairman?
Well, we can. I think we have that. Do we have that authority?
I don't know, but we go back to the topic of the bill. Right now in the state of Mississippi, state law requires that any officer or any enlisted person that gets to the age of 64, they're automatically retired. That does not comport with some of the federal officers. And so this bill is attempting to do that. And what it says on line 39 is that whenever a federally recognized officer or enlisted person is unable to maintain federal recognition, then he shall be placed on the retired list. And what this will give the National Guard the ability to do is to follow the federal guidelines for when people have to be discharged or have to leave a retirement. And for example, chaplains can go from up to the age of 68. So if they were under current Mississippi law, they would have to be retired at the age of 64. This gives them the ability to go up to those federal guidelines, like I said, for chaplain or for doctors or any officers. I believe that date or that age is 68. So it just allows the National Guard to comport with the federal guidelines. That's all that the bill does.
Okay, and we're only moving it to age 68.
We're actually allowing it to follow the federally designated guidelines. I don't think there's anything that's sliding someone who's approaching that age, but I understand, Mr. Chairman.
I was just thinking old guys. So anyway, all right, any questions from the committee? If not, do I have a motion? Title sufficient to pass. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay. We'll move back to the top of the agenda, Senate Bill 2362, salary cap exempt certain attorneys employed by the Attorney General's office. Senator Branning was scheduled to do this, but as she is still in Judd A, I will ask the Attorney General's representative to explain the bill. Ms. Lipscomb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Whitney Lipscomb from the AG's office. This is a simple bill. As you're aware, 25-339 prohibits any agency from paying more than their agency head. And in the case of the Attorney General, her salary is set by statute. Her salary is set at $108,960. This past year, the State Personnel Board completely overhauled the system with the SEC2 project, and they have come out with new pay compensation rates for our attorneys. And they've actually, they've classified attorneys as level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Level 1 being your least experienced, newest attorney, level 4 being your most experienced attorney handling complex cases. Those salary rates exceed the Attorney General's pay her pay. And because of 25,339, the salary cap, we cannot fully implement SEC 2. We can't hire level 3 and level 4 experienced attorneys. We're going to have a hard time retaining them. So we would like to remove the cap. The amendment to that statute just says that the State Personnel Board, based upon its findings of fact, may exempt, this is the new language, certain attorneys employed by the Attorney General's office. And then it goes on to say physicians and actuaries. That's language that's already in there from this subsection when the acquisition of such professional services is precluded based on the prevailing wage in the relevant labor market. They've already made those findings in SEC 2, and we're just asking to be able to implement the salary ranges that they've put in place.
You heard the explanation. Do you have any questions as a committee? Okay, do I have a motion? Oh, wait, Senator Butler.
Explain it to me again about the third and fourth, the levels that are above the Attorney General's salary. Explain that part.
Yes, sir. So level 3 and level 4 attorneys, those are your more experienced attorneys. And the salary ranges that the State Personnel Board has identified for them for level 3 is 91,000 up to 143,000. And level 4 attorneys, that's a minimum of 101,000 up to 158,000. And so with our salary cap of $108,960, we're unable to implement those salary ranges that the State Personnel Board has identified we should be paying our attorneys.
Okay, so what do you recommend? What do they recommend? What do they recommend?
Sorry, sir, I can't hear you.
So what is being recommended?
So this will remove the salary cap. This will allow us to pay an attorney over the Attorney General's salary, which is $108,000. We cannot pay anybody more than $108,960 as we sit here today. And the State Personnel Board has said that we should be, paying attorneys, our more senior attorneys, from 91,000 all the way up to 158,000. So by removing the cap, it gives us the discretion to then pay people within these ranges. It doesn't mean that everyone within those levels are going to be paid over the salary cap. It just means that we have the discretion and we have the ability to implement SEC 2 and these new compensation rates. I do understand that there are bills out there to change the salaries of statewide, and I know that will be working through the process. I know one just passed through Appropriations Committee, so that would solve the problem too. But I think this is just a backstop should that not come to fruition. Did that answer your? I'm sorry. More information you may have needed.
That answers it.
Okay, thank you.
Senator, do you have another question? Or are you good with that? Senator Butler, you want another question or are you good?
What I was looking at was maybe a recommendation, whereas that you could hire a person for a period of time, and then for that period of time for that case, rather than keeping that person on to.
All of our attorneys at this moment are what we call their non-state service, so they're will and pleasure attorneys. I don't know, how that would work, and we certainly have contemplated that. We've had some complex cases where we needed somebody with specific litigation experience, whether it be elections or employment, and we certainly would love to have the opportunity. They may be willing to come just for a year or 2 years. Sometimes in litigation, you can't determine how long it's going to last, but that's something to be considered, and we'd like to be able, like I mentioned, those specific expertise areas. That's where we've had trouble recruiting. So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Motion is titled sufficient to pass. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Do I have another motion? Rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Aye.